Hello, friends, and welcome to Friday with Friends. And I am Sparkle with Art by Sparkle. I want to thank Betty from Oak by Betina for inviting me to be a special guest this week. It has been a wonderful experience to create something for this collaboration. Sorry. Anyway, a little tongue-tied there. And fall is in the air. Well, not necessarily here in Arizona, but definitely elsewhere. And I have fond memories of growing up south of Buffalo, New York, where we would rake the leaves and jump in them. My parents would have hot toddies on the weekend. We'd get hot cider and have a nice hot bowl of vegetable soup and grilled cheese sandwiches. The memories are wonderful. So I thank you, Betty, for giving me that chance to reminisce. So today I have put together a fall expression, and it will be used as a functional piece of art. I seem to be in that area of wanting to create functional things. So I hope you will enjoy it. I have used some stencil paste, and I have a picture of all of the jars with the colors that I used. And they will be in the description box. So hang in there, and I'll be right back. These are the stencil pastes I am using. I really like them. I haven't used them for a long time, and I thought this would be a good opportunity. I'm also using Mixed Media Girl paints, the Pearl Sky Blue and the Pearl White. I've mixed them together so that I can create kind of a sky background, a very pale sky background, because I wanted to have something that was going to make it look like the leaves were actually falling in the sky. These stencil pieces, excuse me, came from Poor Art, and I like them. They're, as you can see, they are in different pieces. They come as a set. This was called Falling Leaves, and I was just placing them here. I wasn't exactly sure where I was going to put them, so I was kind of playing around with them until I figured out what I wanted to do. Now, what's interesting, I didn't use any paste on the back of them or any gel. I actually laid them on the wet paint, which worked out really well because that way I didn't have to fiddle around with the the gel or any kind of a paste to hold them down. They're very lightweight. They're a little flimsy, but as you can see, they actually have a copper tone to them. Now, I know a lot of the artists who are creating things like this, they use glue to create a stencil. I found these, about 6 months ago, and I had them in a box, and I rediscovered them, and I went, okay. So I went through all the ones I had, and I really like this set. They have an amazing amount of shapes and circles and squares and connected things like trees. And I mean, it's just amazing, what they have available. I will have that in the description box. I'm putting down the gel, the pastes. Now they're pretty thick. I had some difficulty trying to decide the best way to put this on because it is thick and I wanted to stay within the lines. That was probably my biggest challenge, although speeding this up helped because you didn't see the tremors that I had, and so it worked out really well. But I was using toothpicks to try to get them in the corner, and I'd use a brush, or I even tried putting some in a squeeze bottle, but that didn't work out so well. The hole wasn't quite big enough, and I went back to putting them down mainly with a brush and using a toothpick. I did get some of the the stencil paste on the outside of the stencil itself, but it's scraped right off, either while it was wet or when it had already dried. So I tried to catch all of the spots that I had kind of covered up, as you can see. The biggest challenge was deciding what colors to use, because right now I have all the colors they have available. And so it was interesting. I didn't want them all to just look like a plain flat color. Some of them were actually metallic, which helped them really show up nicely. But as you will see at the end, I went ahead and I took some darker colors and made some highlights on the leaves when they were all dry. It didn't take long for them to dry. I would say as thick as this was, it actually dried probably in a good 15 minutes. I mean, it was starting to harden up even while I was working on it after I had left an area. So that was pretty good. I didn't have to, wait for a lot of time before I could do any kind of embellishment. So I was getting a little bit sloppy here. I was getting tired. It took me 2 days to do this because I had to take some breaks because it was a little tedious, and obviously I had to speed this up for the sake of time. And but you're still getting an idea of what I did with these. I love this color. It's called Barn Red. Now, to me, it had a little bit of pink to it. So when I went back over with highlights, I actually used a Christmas red to bring out some of that redness. I don't know why they call it barn red, because barn red to me is a little bit more, has a little brown in it. I actually used the barn red on the first flower, and I added a little bit of brown and a little bit of black just to make it, darker and more of a contrast. So they really worked out well. I will definitely use them again. Some of the stencils I have very thin lines, so that will be challenging for me, but using a toothpick, will help with that as well. I didn't try watering these down. I might try that with some of the other stencils where I don't want it to look quite as thick, although I love the fact that it gives a really nice texture look. Even though leaves are flat, I still like the idea of the texture. My art, my way. But it worked out well, and I was really pleased with the outcome. It's a little hard to tell, but the background has, you can see some of the white streaks from the Mixed Media Girl paints that I mixed together, and that was intentional. I actually brushed it one way and then another way, as you saw me do earlier. And it gave a kind of a shimmer effect, as they were both pearl paints, pearl shimmer paints. And if you have not tried her paints, please do, because I love them. They're ready pour. I've used them a lot. I enjoy using them, especially when I, don't feel like making, mixing up some paints with pouring medium. Now here you can see I've started adding some embellishment colors just to make them stand out a little bit. In the upper left hand corner is that barn red that I added the brown and the black to. And I liked the way that looked because it gave a nice contrast. It was funny, I was looking online at various videos, music videos that had beautiful fall scenery, and I sure do miss that. Living in this part of Arizona, we don't have the changing colors on the leaves because we don't have the maple trees in this part. But obviously, in northern part of Arizona, you will see changing colors. So there you have it. And I will be giving you a close-up in just a moment. And you'll be able to see how they actually looked individually. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, thank you, Betty, for having me as a guest. I've really enjoyed it, and I appreciate you inviting me. If you like what you saw today, I hope you'll consider subscribing if you haven't, and please hit the notification bell so you will see when I put up another video. It's been a little while since I have, put some individual videos up. I have been in a few collaborations, and I will be in some more in October that I'm really looking forward to, especially the big Halloween collab that It's Art by Donna is going to be doing. And there are a lot of us. Here I've decided to add some of the pearl white. I used a stencil brush to add some clouds. It might look a little funky, but at the same time, I wanted to give the effect that these leaves were just kind of falling in the sky. So I had fun doing that. That was just, and then I did a few little touch-ups when I, could see what I might have missed. And now for the close-ups. I'm glad I added those extra colors too. So thanks for watching, and keep your sparkle on.